Are city and state police considered socialism? In some ways, yes. In some ways, no. Socialism is socialism is all encompassing, police is obviously a part of that. But the major part that makes socialism awful is the loss of control by the individual. And that usually doesn't come by the police. Now, obviously, if you have bad laws and the police enforce it, they're corrupt and the like, you can lose a lot of control by that. But if the police are honest, doing their job correctly, and they're fair and respecting civil liberties, even if it's done by a monopolized government system, you're protecting liberty. You're not infringing on liberty. But in some ways, it is socialism because you have a monopolized budget. you have politicians that create the budget. They create the pay. They get to decide what equipment, what what guns they use, what buildings they use, what supplies they have, and the like. They determine the hours. They determine the level of the force. They determine a lot of stuff. So in a way, they are because they are controlling a lot of things. It's a monopoly control. So look at competitive police, competitive military, competitive prisons, competitive roads, to see how all these what we would normally call government services, and they are, to be done in a competitive way. But let's get back to police right now. And all the elements of socialism are monopoly control and the lack of free enterprise. So that's one of the elements. The total control of socialism means the individual has almost no control whatsoever over his own decision making. They're told where to work. It's kind of very similar to slavery. They're told where to work, what they're going to get, what their benefits are, and they're provided the healthcare. They're provided the education. They're provided all the stuff, but it's not done on their decision making. It's done only by their masters. If it's slavery, it's their masters or the government bureaucrat or the government politician getting to decide. And there's different levels of socialism. Full socialism is really bad at slavery. The more they allow socialism to give into some personal decisions, the better it is, but still bad. So the police is a government service to protect liberties. So if they do a great job, they're respecting civil liberties and they're only they're obeying really good rules, then even if it's a monopolized government, it still can be better. It can still be okay. But it can be a lot better when the free market decides the overall level of the police department, whether it's 5% of GDP, 2% of GDP, 3% of GDP. The free enterprise is better at making that decision. Where right now, that is politicians' decisions. Because right now, they could increase the police department by 10, 20, 30, 40%. They can decrease it by half. They can do whatever they want to. But that's all politician control. In the free enterprise system, if they supplied the police, it would be done by millions of decisions, or really billions of decisions by millions of people, putting out police contracts. So that would be better by having different police departments deciding officer wages. They will look at, can we get better people at a higher incentive program. So they determine, if it's free enterprise, they're going to determine a lot of things: what weapons they use, what cop cars they use, what's their crime lab look like, how much assets are you putting into different things. So in a free enterprise system, we can do that. That's what I'm calling for: a free enterprise system in policing. Yes, in a well-structured hierarchy system, but with a lot of liberty for free enterprise. So let's keep on going a little bit. Free enterprise allows individuals to choose the level of services they receive based off price. So a lot of people are going to, if it's a high crime rate, People are going to say, I'm going to put more of my money into the police so we can get the crime rate down. And that's what people want. But if you get too high, let's say 20-30% of government spending goes to police, or 20% or 10-20% of GDP goes to police, and the crime rate's super low, some people might like it, but that might be a little bit too much. You have to balance it. And the free enterprise system creates those balance a lot better than politicians ever could. The structure proposed within this competitive police requires a minimum amount and several mechanisms to address negative externalities. So if you get a poor area, maybe they can't afford as much police. There's mechanisms to allow these things to have a minimum amount of police. There's a lot of things we do within the structure to address that negative externality. A lot more to see at Haley2024.org. Until the next video.